Hello everyone. So I am just a minute or two early, so I thought I would just get on here and wait till you guys hop on. Hey Jamie, thank you for joining. So I'm just gonna wait a couple minutes till we have a few people on here. Everybody's popping in. Getting some notifications. Oh yay, everybody's rolling in. Yay, yay, yay. Hello. Hope your guys' Wednesday is going well. Okay, a couple more people and we'll get started. I have one little baby in the crib I'm listening for. I've got another mascara artist who's helping me with my other kids. So hopefully I can get through this without like tons of interruptions. Hi you guys. This is nerve-wracking. This is not my cup of tea. I am like a behind-the-scenes person. So this is kind of intimidating. You guys are also intimidating. But I'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Brooke Roundy. Let's see. I'm originally from Reno, Nevada. I live in Provo, Utah while my husband is finishing up school. I'm a hairdresser. I'm a mom to 3. I've been doing mascara since day 1. And like all of you, I fell in love with the makeup, the products, and Kara, and so when the opportunity came up, I just jumped in with both feet. And so today we're gonna talk about parties and classes. So in my mind, they're different. When we first became artists, there was a lot of we did lots and lots of parties, which are super, super fun. And now I'm transitioning into doing more classes and educating. So I wanted to talk about both of them, and then I will go ahead and answer any questions you guys have, or if we have time, at the end. And so I'm just gonna go through my spiel, and if we have time, we will answer them at the end, okay? So, so I'd like to talk about kind of the differences of the two and why they're both really beneficial, and how you can have a very successful party or class. So originally when we first got started, we did parties. When I thought of parties, it was like girls' night, pamper, come for a makeover, have some treats. We're gonna do it at a friend's house. Just a really, really fun night. And so I'm just gonna walk you through kind of a really good breakdown of parties. I feel like there's a lot of information on parties, and so I'm not gonna go too in depth into that. I wanna take most of my time and talk about these classes, but I do kind of wanna go through some really fun things to do at parties. So obviously it's a really great idea to get a host, and we'll talk about how to get a host kind of at the end. Usually these parties are just at somebody's house. I've had hosts go all out. They've had, you know, food and a table spread prepared, and then I've also had parties where only like a couple people show up, and I love both of them. They can both be super successful. So usually what I'll do is people will start coming into the room. They arrive, you talk to them, get to know them, welcome them, and then we just kind of mingle and get started once everybody is there. Once everybody's there, what I like to do is just kind of start with an icebreaker, and we introduce ourselves. I introduce myself. A really good icebreaker is just say like, we're gonna go around the room and introduce ourselves, and say like your favorite movie or your most embarrassing story, or just whatever. It can be whatever you want to do, and that kind of breaks the ice a little bit. And then once everybody has introduced themselves, I like to start off and introduce myself, talk about how long I've been using this makeup, why I fell in love with it. I explain my journey with mascara, and I always talk about my why. It's always a really good time to do that because they get a little bit more background, whereas maybe just jumping right into the makeup, they're like, okay, this is maybe another makeup company. They kind of connect a little bit and realize, hey, there is a heartbeat behind the makeup, and there's a reason why this girl is doing it. And it's also a really good opportunity for them to hear about just a little bit about how amazing the opportunity is and how it's changed your life. And so sometimes it piques a little bit of interest. So I always start off with my why. And then again, for this party setting, I will go ahead and bring somebody to the front, and I'll quickly color match them, and I will just do a quick demo. So the biggest thing is I just want to kind of explain to them and show them how amazing and fast and compact and wonderful the makeup is, and I try not to take questions, and then I'll move to the next girl and I'll go ahead and really explain and demo, and then I'll just kind of move on. And while we're doing these, while I'm doing this makeover, I'll have like a scavenger hunt, and they'll get to go through the little, what's it called? Our booklet, our pamphlet. You guys have to remind me our catalog. So they'll flip through the catalog. That's where they will answer all of the scavenger hunt questions. Sometimes I'll have like a jar that has a bunch of tins in it, and like they can guess how many tins they are, and I'll do like a giveaway that way. So they're kind of mingling and watching me do these, thank you, catalog, watching me do these makeovers. And that's kind of how the night goes. And then at the very end, I'm talking to them about prices, and I get out the order forms, computer, all that stuff, and then we wrap it up. So what's fun about the parties is they feel pampered. Maybe they've never highlighted and contoured before, and it's just a really fun way to basically provide service for these women who maybe need a break from their daily lives. So it's really, I love parties, and they can be super successful. But I kind of want to talk about the benefits of doing an actual class and why they are so beneficial to you, to your customer. When I say class, and I'll explain kind of how I do these classes and what they are, but it's a hands-on class where they are learning to put the makeup on themselves. They're getting one-on-one attention, and they're really learning and getting something from these 2 hours, and they go home with confidence. So I kind of want to talk about the reasons why it's so important to just drive that home with your potential customer. And along the way, I want to be talking about, if you can't do these classes and you're still wanting to do parties, how we can make these parties a little bit more educational for your party guests. So one of the main reasons why I love doing actual hands-on classes is because you become the educator and the expert. I love, like I said, I don't want to downplay parties at all because they are so fun. It's just a different vibe. It's a completely different vibe. I will go into someone's home and be the makeover girl, the makeup artist, and I'll pamper them, and I love that feel. But in my classes, I get to be the teacher, and I'm like, hey, like, I know all this stuff. Let me teach you. And it's just really fun. It's a fun mantle, just different hats, Another thing that I love about it is how many times have you completed a makeover and they love it, but they're like, I could never do this at home. Like, I love the look, but I don't think I can do it. And then you have to almost resell them. You know, you're like, no, I promise you, you can totally do this. Here's the hat, girl. You know, you're like, okay, it's like you're trying to resell them almost. So when they go to these classes, you know, they get to experience what cream is. They've never felt cream before. They've never really seen it. They get to use the brush and dip it in and know how much product to use and where to place it and how to place it and how to blend it and what colors to use. And with that, they have the confidence and they have the trust that they have the ability to do that at home. So it's just like, it's so empowering to watch these girls. They might not feel like they can 100% confident that these, you know, that they can go home and do exactly what you did at the class, but they will know so much more than if you were to just put it on yourself, if that makes sense. Another thing that I absolutely love about it, so I'm just going to compare the two when you do a makeover versus teaching them with this aspect. So when you're doing a makeover, you do get to know their skin type, you do get to know their coloring, but you are the one that's figuring it out and putting it on them. When you're at a class, I will go and color match somebody, and I make sure I have lighting. It's like the perfect lighting, so that I have like a box light, a couple ring lights, because where I do it, it's pretty dark, and I just want to have the most true coloring as possible, and so I just make sure that light is on them. So throughout the party, they're putting this on, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give you a little bit of a darker color because that's setting a little bit weird on your nose. So I'll go over and just put a little bit darker, and I say, okay, this one right here, this is gonna go on anywhere you see red, okay? And they'll put it on. So I'm able to just like watch them through the process and make sure that that makeup is looking right and setting right. It's so, like, I can't even tell you, it's been so awesome to be able to do that. And I feel like sometimes when I'm doing a makeover, you can always be like, oh yeah, and you're just kind of like mixing, and you're like, okay, mixed it all in my head, yes, you're this color. But it's just a little bit more accurate sometimes when you're doing it in a class. So I love that. Hold on, they connect. Okay, so, and I kind of am jumping around. I just wrote down all these things that are so freaking awesome about these classes. But another reason why I love it is they feel that connection. It's a class, so they are opening themselves up to being vulnerable, and you're breaking down so many walls, and they're already open to asking you questions, and just being like open, and you're having a good time. And I feel like a lot of times when you're at a party and you're just throwing on the makeup and doing a quick makeover, you can't really get that connection. And so if they buy and they go home, you might not have already broken down those walls. And so a couple months later, when they have it reordered and you haven't heard from them, you're like, hey, so how are you liking that makeup? And eventually, like, you find out that they had kind of like this issue. And you're like, darn it, I wish you would have told me. Or maybe they've kind of cooled off and they're not too interested in the product anymore. Well, anybody who comes to my class, we've already broken down several of, not their issues, but some of the things that they need to do maybe to accommodate oiliness, let's say. And so they know what to do when they get home. So it's already set up perfect. But also, you've really worked with them, and so they feel really comfortable and confident coming to you for any questions or issues in the future. So my retention has gone way up. My trust with them, my communication, my relationship with them has gone straight up, and I'm able to really connect with my customer, and it's just made a world of difference. Let me check here, make sure. I get talking and then I forget things. So I wrote like everything down that I could think of. I feel like we've gone over mostly everything in that regard. So yeah, but the biggest thing I feel like is, again, they get to experience the product. They get to touch it, they get to feel it, they get to understand where to place it, and it's such a better time investment for you to do, so that they go home feeling confident, and versus, hey, I figured out your face shape, now you go home with this brand new makeup that you're gonna get in a week and a half and figure it out yourself. So I do have one last bullet point, and then I'm gonna go into what these classes are. Breakdown. Okay, and I feel really bad that I have to do this, but I forgot my box of all my stuff that I was gonna show you, because 3 kids, that's all I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna pop in the baby's room, grab my stuff, be really unprofessional, and leave alive. But I really want to show you all the stuff that I use for my class. So you guys, I'm so sorry. One sec. Okay. Hey Google, turn off Jarvis. You're gonna go with Vanessa first. Alright guys, I'm so sorry. That was so unprofessional of me. But, okay. I want to show you what I use, okay? So, I'm going to just talk about kind of like a breakdown of what I do. So, and some of this I've gotten from other artists, like for instance Celeste. She actually was the first one that showed us like these mirrors. We were at leadership retreat last year, and she brought some of her stuff, and I just thought it was like the most brilliant idea, and we already kind of wanted to do it, and so she just paved the way for us. So and it's been really fun to kind of make it our own. So what we do is we'll get the class set up. So let me show you what I do. So we've got these cute mirrors. They come in this bag. They light up and everything, so they have their own personal mirror. And then they have, you know, I don't need to show you the brushes, but they've got, we put out a B-squared bronzer brush, 30-second hack brush, eyeshadow everything brush, and then a know your angles brush, because we do a basic eyeshadow look, and then we teach them how to do their brows, because like Kara said, there are plenty of people with bad brows in the world, and we are here to fix that. So I have a little hair tie, little headband, and then they get a little palette. And I love these ones because they each have like their own little spot for their highlight and contour, and sometimes we'll put like a milk sample on here, and I'll go through all that in just a sec. And then this is kind of what I have out for them. If I have enough milk packets, I will have these laid out because it just has a ton of information. They get a hack girl. I actually made these. Oh, I just dropped the one that I made, but I put both of these. Here, let me get it. Hang on. I'm all over the map. I'm like ADHD or something. I can't keep focused, but I made these, so sorry, the lighting's kind of weird. So we've got the eyeshadow and the hat girl, so they've got that, and this is all nicely fanned next to their display. And then I've got one of these guys for them. They get to take notes, so they have a pen, and then I put out the order form. So that's just kind of like fanned out nicely, okay? So when they come in, there's several spots, like stations or whatever, set up, and then they can sit down, and they've got everything. One thing that you could do is charge like 15 bucks for attending the class, and then they can take home their perfector sponge, just because those are kind of not totally sanitary to use again. So that's just an idea. So they come in and they've got these cute little thing, just a nice little display to sit in front of. There's treats. We usually have like soda and candy, because do you need anything more in your life? No. As they're coming in, I just quickly color match them. So I always have these beautiful guys. See, I'm always just using everything we can of mascara, just to any chance I get to upsell. So I have these makeup wipes. They'll wipe off their makeup. I'll quickly color match them as they're coming in. And then there's a spatula that comes with this, and I just scrape a little bit off. And the trick is to get it as flat as you can to mimic the tin, because I do feel like that's important when you're picking up product. You don't want a huge clump. You're trying to teach them as best you can. You know, it's going to be as similar as when they get their makeup. So then they come in, and we do basically the same intro as the party. So we'll go around and introduce ourselves, do an icebreaker, and oh, we do take before and afters, by the way. That's very, very important. We'll do an icebreaker. I'll introduce myself. So what I forgot to mention is I usually run these classes with a fellow artist. So my girl Vanessa, who's watching my babies right now, we run the class together because we can get more people. So we kind of switch off. Like, I'll demo on myself, and she'll go in and like make sure that everybody's doing it correctly, and then like we'll switch. So she'll do like the eyeshadows, and then I'll go and make sure everybody's doing it correctly. So that's really, really helped. If you can't do that, or you don't have a person, I have totally done these by myself, but I recommend only having about 4 girls, because it gets really, really complicated. You want, and just so time consuming. So you want to be able to just really work with the people that are there, and you can't totally do that if you're trying to, you know, help 8 people. It just gets really crazy. So I recommend 4 people. If you have 2 people, you could probably do a lot more. And it also does depend on if you have like veteran customers versus people who are brand new. And like I said, like, skill level is, it just depends on their skill level too. You don't know, trust me, you don't know if that person is going to take up all of your attention or just a little. Because I have had some funny experiences, and it just solidifies why I do these classes. Oh man. Okay, so then we go through Tres Leches. So they get to try Cure and Tres Leches. We talk about the benefits of Cure and exfoliating, and all the benefits of Tres Leches. The one thing is if they have oily skin, I give them like barely anything of milk, because we are going right into the makeover, and I always let everybody know, hey, if you're having any issues with slippage, that is probably because we used a really intense moisturizer right before we did your makeup today, and that's not really recommended. But we really, really wanted you to try the Tres Leches. So so that you could experience it and know how amazing it is. So just a little tip on that. But they get to experience Tres Leches, and like, it's phenomenal, and people love it, and they just die over it. And then I set it nicely in front of, like, off to the side from me, in between them, so they get to stare at it the entire time and just want it the entire time. So then we move on to the demo. So I just demo on myself. I have a mirror, and I show them how much product to pick up, where to place it, and how to apply it, and just I go through absolutely everything. So from the highlight to the contour, blush, illuminator, lips, everything. And yeah, it's just really, really fun to see these girls transform and get into it and learn it. And it's just really fun. So then, again, I'm always watching, and it's kind of nice to have two people there, because if you're not super comfortable with color matching, or you're like, I have no idea what to do with this person, you're always like, hey Vanessa, why don't you come over here? What do you think about this? So you always have a second opinion, and that's great too. But again, if you're doing it by yourself, you got it. You totally got it. You just got to keep trying shades and keep getting it on people, because you'll understand it as you get going. I promise. So obviously good lighting, I've talked about that. You go through the hack. So then we switch and we do an eyeshadow demo, and this is how I do the eyeshadows. We usually come up with a basic look with 2 to 4 shadows depending on what is in stock. We try and keep to what's in stock because we want them to buy the product, you know, by like the end of the class. And so we'll come up with a look, and I don't have like 4 to 8 to 10 eyeshadow tins on hand that I can give everybody one. And so we'll lay out the tins in front of them. They all have their own eyeshadow brush that's been washed, cleaned, and we put alcohol right next to them. And so anytime they're double dipping, they can always spray, let it dry, and then put it on. So that keeps it sanitary. Sometimes when you're with a group of friends, they don't care, and I just leave it up to them to decide, but I always have that option available. And then we do the eyeshadow look. And one thing so my last class last week I had is a veteran. I call some of my customers that have been with me for a long time, I call them veteran customers. They're some of my favorites because they've supported me along the way, but she's a little bit older, and I think this concept, she's still kind of getting it. And so it really has been, side note, a really amazing opportunity to teach some of my already customers, but people who have been doing this for 3 or 4 months might be doing it incorrectly. I was doing, oh my gosh, I don't even want to go back and watch my old videos. I cringe because I probably was doing them all wrong. In fact, I know I was. Like this contour area, like I was definitely pulling my contour and my face down. But what I'm saying is, imagine your customers, and so when they come to these classes, yes, they already have an understanding of a few things, but they get to they learn it like legit, and it gets stuck in their head. So it's kind of helped my older customer. Anyway, that was kind of a side note. But she was just saying how excited she was for all the new shadows, and we were like, well, maybe we should just do an eyeshadow class when all the eyeshadows come out. And so I'm really excited for that. It's going to be so much fun. So we're going to do an eyeshadow class soon, and it's going to be great, especially for sales. Okay, so once we have everything done, we always have our RCMA powder available. I feel like with first-time clients, they have sometimes they have a little bit of a harder time coming around to the dewy side. I feel like that's something that sometimes takes clients and customers a while to get to. And so we always have the RCMA for our oilier girls and for people who just want a more mattified look. and they put it on, and so then they complete the look. And then I just go through prices and packaging. So I've got, I always have one of each compact, and I usually go through the prices of the quad and the hack stack and the mini double decker. And I always have my double decker that I'm using my makeup from, so they can see it, and if they want to know about more, then I'll talk to them about that. But I usually stick to those 3 and go through prices, and by that time they're already looking through the catalog, and it's like they're really eager to know how much this is all going to be. So go through that. I will have, obviously the order forms are out. I'll have like a laptop or a tablet there just in case. I feel like, a lot of people don't like putting their credit card information out, so it's really good to have something like that available, because you don't want them to be like, oh, I'll just go home and put it on my computer. And I'm like, no, you will not. I've got it right here, and we can do it right now. So just make it easy. Always, always, always make it easy for them. And then, of course, at the end, I always, they always have their phones, so I'm like, hey, go follow me on Blush Basics, Instagram, Facebook. Let's get you, if we're not already friends, I'm going to get you in our VIP group. I tag them in my welcome post that has my welcome email, and I get them all set up. Like, they will not fail, and I will not fail them. So, that's my class. That is my class. So I just kind of want to talk about how we get people. So when I started these classes, I had already been doing this for like over a year, because I just started doing these like a couple months ago. I think it was like in April or something. And so I feel like I had already like burned through my my people, my reach, right? But I realized as I was doing these, there are so many people I can reach out to and get them to come to these classes. Like, it's crazy. Just people that I didn't even think about before. And so anytime I have a class, and I have to be honest, sometimes I get tired of doing these classes. They're a lot of work, but once I set the date and I've already talked to a couple of people, it makes me do it. And it makes me, I'm over here like, I'm going to be putting a ton of time and work into this. I don't want one person to show. So I hustle and I work my tail off to get people to come. People are kind of flaky. And so when you have 10 people confirmed, plan on 5. Unless you're talking with like your friends and you know for sure they're not going to flake. But we always shoot for like at least getting 10 people confirmed, because we know that number is going to drastically decrease. And like I said, I don't want to have a 2-hour class that I set up and everything for one person who could potentially not even buy. See, it's just a numbers game. The more people you get there, the more people you could potentially sell. So some of the ways that I have gotten people to these classes, and maybe you guys can think of other ways, but I reach out to, obviously, my friends, because it's a new thing and they haven't been to one of my classes before. So reach out to them, see if they have any friends that they would care to bring to make it more fun and more comfortable for them. I reach out to my clients that I have already sold to, and I love, love, love to do this. You would think, oh, I've already sold them, they're on it. No. Just because they've bought pretty much almost everything doesn't mean that there's not more that they can buy and not more that they can get out of it and learn. So I love getting people to come to the classes that have already bought, because I've already kind of talked about that, but it's just a great, great thing. And then they bring their friends, because they're like, hey, I've been using this makeup for a while. I'm bringing this girl because I've been telling her about it for a while, and I need her to come. So, and this is getting kind of long. I wrote down, there was like one other thing. Obviously post on social media, and then I do like ads on KSL or Facebook Marketplace. Marketplace is a little tricky, like they kind of have winded down on those, but those are really great places too. Other options, we were thinking of doing flyers, placing them everywhere around town, and just trying to get as many people to come. You could totally charge for this, or you could offer it free. It's completely up to you. Just make sure that I covered all my bullet points. So, the biggest thing that I wanted to drive home is, here's the thing. It took me a long time to get all of these supplies, and some of you guys might be thinking, I just got started. I don't even have all the makeup. I can't afford all of these things, and I am like so in your boat. Like I literally bought these mirrors piecemeal. Like I have 7 sets of brushes, but I did not, it was like I had like a complete 2 and then 3 and then 4. I used my host rewards. So all of this is like, I used my mascara money for this so that it didn't burden our family finances, and I just saved up over time. But some of the things that you could do if you don't have the ability to do this is maybe just do one-on-one classes, or at these parties. Maybe you come up with a way to incorporate teaching and lessons, even if you're passing around one brush and spraying that bad boy every single time. There's lots of different things you can think of, but how can we incorporate these just education into our fun girl night parties so that you connect with your customer, you break down walls, you break down or you troubleshoot, and you get them confident with being able to take this makeup home with them, and so that they can feel like they can recreate your look. I'm going to go over the homework before I forget, and I might be able to take like 1 or 2 questions, but the homework, I want you to come up with your own outline for your own party and or class. So whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you would like to do, I'd like you to come up with just kind of like a breakdown of how you want to structure your parties. Maybe you've been doing parties and they're rocking. How can you incorporate more of an educational standpoint in your parties? Extra credit would be write down 3 to 4 ladies that can host a class. You know, I love getting hosts. I really do, because then they're responsible for bringing people in. But I love being my own host too sometimes, because I love those host rewards, and it makes me push and push and push to expand my reach a little bit. And then I learn how to kind of come out of my comfort zone a little bit, and it's just been really fun. And I've absolutely loved it. So I hope you guys learned something from this class, and that it either wasn't something you've already heard or it wasn't too far over your head. But I feel so honored to have taught you guys something today. Do you find it easier to do a class at a location versus getting a hostess? I'm struggling to find a hostess. So it really, honestly, it just depends. Like, you just have to like go for it. You just have to try different things. So if you're having a hard time finding a hostess, try hosting yourself and looking for people that can come to your party or your class, and try just reaching outside of your comfort zone and your reach, and just try and get people to come. I hope that answered your questions. Do you have any materials and have a supply list or ideas for classes and parties? So I do not have a supply list. You know what's so funny? This is my favorite part. I have to be honest. Everything fits in this box, and anytime I go do like an expo or an event, I'm always like, I just feel like I should have so much more stuff, but it's all right here in my artist palette. It's just so fun because it's all so compact. That was a side note. Sorry, I just have to share how much I love love the system. But I don't have a list. I just kind of go through in my mind, what do we need for the party, kind of what do I want to do, what activities do I want, and then I just make sure that I have it. So I don't have like an actual list or anything. Yes, I'll come up with one. Okay. You want to see the box? Okay. This is the box. So usually it's a little bit more filled. It's filled to the top because I've got all of these, you know, mirrors and stuff, and then I put in my artist palette, and I've got like this brush bag that has like all my brushes. Sorry, you probably can't see. But that's it for like, and I've got enough in there for like 7 people. It's crazy. So, okay, you guys, thank you so much. Good luck with your homework and your extra credit. So thanks so much for having me, and good luck. You guys are gonna do so great. Okay, where's the finish? Oh yeah.